Okay, I'll call this meeting of the Canyon City Preservation Commission to order. Cindy, will you do roll call?
Sure. Terry? Chris?
I see Terry on Zoom. We may not be
is
able to
she on
hear.
there? There she is.
There we go.
Hi.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yay.
Chris?
Here.
Mike?
Here?
Jim?
Here.
Rochelle? And Lisa's here. Lisa, you're not on the roll call.
Oh, I'm staff, so.
Oh, you are?
Has everyone gotten a chance to review the minutes? Are there any corrections or omissions? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the special meeting on January 4th.
I move that we approve the minutes from the special meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Commission appointment and vacancy. Lisa, I'll turn this over to staff.
So far, we have not received any letters for filling the vacancy for an alternate. We did receive your letter, Chris, for changing from an alternate to the 1 year appointment. That should be going to City Council, I hope the next meeting, which would be the 1st. I did reach out to a few individuals that might be interested in it, so we'll see within the next couple weeks if we can get a letter. The deadline, I think, initially that we posted was for January 29th. Obviously, we'll have to extend that if we don't receive one before then. So hopefully by next meeting, we'll have somebody.
Okay.
And if you know of any individuals that you think might be interested in serving, let me know.
Absolutely. Appointment of a new chair. I'll open up discussion regarding appointment of the new chair for the Historic Preservation Commission.
I'm open to move right to a motion to move for Mike Madone to be appointed as the new chair.
I would agree.
I was afraid of that.
Well, you took the chair today, so.
So there was a second?
Yep.
Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Say
Aye.
The motion's approved. I guess that makes me the new chair. Next item on the agenda is the public hearing. I now announce the opening of the public hearing regarding the application to nominate Mount St. Scholastica Academy, located in planning areas 2 and 3 of the Scholastica Minor Subdivision, Canyon City, as a historic site. Should we start with the staff report?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, may I interrupt?
Yes.
Just for a moment. I'm actually part of the Scholastica site presentation, but if I can back us up just one agenda item.
Okay.
What are the requirements for Historic Preservation Commission attendance or
So they don't have to live in Canyon City, but they have to have an interest in historic preservation. The CLG sort of recommends that they have a background, if possible, in either architecture, historic preservation, history. If you have a professional in either one of those categories, or archaeologist, that is technically what they're looking for. If they can qualify, they don't have to be of those professions. And that's about it. Usually it's 1 hour a month commitment. We're going to be looking at we've applied for a grant for doing historic preservation plan for Canyon City, and so there might be opportunity to get involved in educational opportunities for the community and teaching people about historic preservation and what the CLG program offers.
Okay.
So that's it in a nutshell.
Well, Mr. Chairman, my name is Lester Lamone. You're going to meet me here in just a few moments. I'm an architect, 30 years experience, owning my own firm, and I live here in Canyon City. Well, I practice in Canyon City. I live in Fremont County. And so I also, in my previous life, lived in Kansas, and for 5, 6, 7 years chaired the Historic Planning Commission there in Newton, Kansas, and spent more than a decade in the chairmanship of the Planning Commission in Newton, Kansas. So I would submit myself formally, if that's a position that I can fill for you. I'm happy to put my name forward.
We do ask that you submit a letter to Cindy, the city clerk, and that will be reviewed by the commission and then city council for formal approval.
All right.
So, yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I think your experience and background would be very welcome
Oh, yes.
on the commission.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no worries. Mount St. Scholastica Academy, staff report.
So this is a public hearing and consideration for a motion to adopt a resolution to initiate the process for designation of the property at 615 Pike Avenue, 722 North 6th Street, 724 North 6th Street, 701 North 7th Street, and 707 North 7th Street as a local historic structure, or actually site, pursuant to city's municipal code, section 123090. Go to the, oh, I need to turn it on. The name of the property is Mount St. Scholastica Academy, commonly known as St. Scholastica. Again, the location is 615 Pike Avenue and is located in planning areas 2 and 3 of the St. Scholastica minor subdivision, as you can see there. The current property owners are Homes of the Canyon 2 LLC and Homes of the Canyon LLC. The property owners have been notified by mail at least 15 days prior to the public hearing, and signs were posted on the property at least 15 days prior to the public hearing. The years of construction, original construction for this site, the east building was built in 1897, the residence hall in 1961, and there are 2 other buildings currently on the site that were constructed after 1970, the Learning Center in 1979, and the Library Chapel in 1983. The site itself has been attributed to the Catholic Benedictine Sisters of Chicago and the St. Scholastica Academy since 1890. The original property owner was Colorado Collegiate and Military Institute, Mount St. Scholastica Academy, and the Catholic Benedictine Sisters of Chicago. The architect and builder, the architect for the east building is identified as D.A. Bradbury of Denver, and Langhart and McGuire of Denver for the residence hall. The historic and non-historic buildings have not moved from their original locations. The application form identifies the predominant architectural styles of the historic buildings within the parameters of the proposed historic site. The St. Scholastica's Academy's East Building, also known as the Fine Arts Building, is defined as late Victorian with both Italianate and Queen Anne architectural elements. The building is 2 stories with a raised basement and an attic story. The building has red brick walls with a locally quarried rock-faced sandstone foundation. It is the oldest building still standing on the property. It was constructed in 1897 on the foundation of the old Colorado Collegiate and Military Institute. The East Building is currently listed on both the Colorado State Register of Historic Properties and the National Register of Historic Places. There was one clarification for the National Register nomination form. There is some incorrect information regarding Canyon City. Just wanted to make note of that before we move on. But in regards to the architectural style and everything for the East Building, it is correct. The Residence Hall, as described in the application, is a 3-story block building with a brick and painted concrete exterior facade. The style is late modern expressionism, or international style of American architecture, which is influenced or was influenced by the German Bauhaus movement. With a flat roof, large sections of blank windowless walls, structural framework, and unornamented windows that are flush with the exterior walls. And in the lower level, there are floor-to-ceiling windows. The 2 non-historic buildings, which include the classroom building, also known as the Learning Center, and the Library Chapel building, do not have very many noticeable or distinct architectural elements that can be attributed to any classical architectural style other than postmodern and brutalism. The campus of Mount St. Scholastica was built on the former site of the Colorado Collegiate and Military Institute. The military academy for both boys and girls operated as a boarding school in Canyon City for 5 years, starting in 1881 and closing in 1886. The Central Colorado Improvement Company gained ownership of the land upon the school's closure and sold a large portion of the property to Mrs. Thomas Mary Macon in 1886. 4 years later, Mrs. Macon has sold the property to the Benedictine Sisters of Chicago for $15,000. The sisters moved to Canyon City from Breckenridge to start a new school in Colorado. Mount St. Scholastica officially opened in September of 1890 with only 40 students, 4 Benedictine sisters, and 1 lay teacher. Over the next century, the campus of Mount St. Scholastica grew from just 1 building to over 6 structures. After the construction of the East Building, the Fine Arts Building in 1897, with the help of prison labor, a chapel and eventually a residential hall, the West Building, were built on the site. A new residence hall was built in 1961, followed by a swimming pool, gymnasium, and library chapel in the 1970s and 1980s. In 1973, a planning consultant, Lamar Kinsley, Inc., conducted a study on the safety of the old structures on the St. Scholastica campus. The study found that some of the older buildings were structurally unsound. Many of the older structures built by the Benedictine Sisters of Chicago were demolished several years prior to the closure of the academy in 2001, including the West Building in 1982, the old Riley Memorial Chapel, which you see, that's the old chapel. That was also torn down, and the vestibule in 1979, and the Chaplain's Cottage and the Home Economic Cottage in 1960. St. Scholastica closed in 2001 due to dropping enrollment and fewer nuns at the school to teach. Following the school's closure, another private boarding school called Royal Peak Academy briefly operated on the campus. The current owners conducted a thorough assessment of the remaining buildings on the campus for structural integrity and potential use. According to the application form, the study found that the pool and gymnasium, as well as the maintenance buildings, formerly the carpenter shop, were deemed too cost prohibitive to save and were demolished. The theater or lecture hall wing of the Learning Center had drainage issues that impacted the site and was also raised. The walkway or hallway corridor that connected the residence hall to the Learning Center was also considered unstable and demolished. The remaining buildings of the St. Scholastica Academy campus include the Learning Center, the Library Chapel, the Residence Hall, and the old East Building, the Fine Arts Building. The East Building on St. Scholastica campus has undergone both historic and recent modifications, but all in all still retains its historical integrity. The goal of the Homes of the Canyon is to revitalize the campus as a live, work, play campus within walking distance of Canyon City's downtown business district. Mount St. Scholastica was the longest operating private school in Canyon City, contributing to the education of thousands of girls and young women from 1890 to 2001. Mount St. Scholastica Academy first served as a private boarding school for girls in all grades. In the 1930s, the academy became a private girls' high school or college preparatory school. Girls from all over Colorado, the United States, and even the world attended this boarding school. Throughout the school's history, many local families also enrolled their daughters as day students at St. Scholastica. According to the 1997 registration application form to nominate the East Building to the National Register of Historic Properties or Places, Mother Frances Xavier Cabrini, an Italian-American nun, visited St. Scholastica Academy, likely during her trips to Colorado in 1902 and possibly again in 1912. Mother Frances Xavier Cabrini was later canonized a saint in 1946, thus becoming the first naturalized American saint in the Catholic Church. Mother Cabrini's stay at the academy, though not documented, was a well-acknowledged and accepted story of the Benedictine Sisters of Chicago. By the 1980s, according to a newspaper article printed in the Pueblo Chieftain dated August 19th, 1984, St. Scholastica Academy was not only the oldest boarding school in Colorado, it was also the only girls' boarding school in the state. The East Building, the Fine Arts Building, is the oldest known school building still standing in Canyon City. On a local level, the school also impacted the social and economic history of Canyon City. At its height of student enrollment at St. Scholastica in the 1990s, the school contributed to over $1 million annually to the local economy. Both St. Scholastica students and faculty were actively involved at local daycare centers, schools, and nursing homes. Mount St. Scholastica Academy campus is indelibly linked to the small but noteworthy community of Catholic Benedictine Sisters of Chicago, who established the school and to the educational history of Canyon City. The Benedictine Sisters created a community within a community for the benefit of educating girls and young women that lasted over a century. According to an article printed in the Canyon City Daily Record on February 28, 1986, since the founding of the Girls Academy in 1890, the educational aims of the institution have been the same, but to send out well-educated graduates who will become an active part of their communities. The same article noted that 90 to 100% of the students at St. Scholastica go on to college. This high percentage of graduates going on to college continued until the school's closure in 2001. So, according to these findings of facts, the two historic buildings are located on the property the St. Scholastica Academy's East Building and the Residence Hall. The East Building is listed on both the state and Register of Historic Properties and the National Register of Historic Places, and was built in 1897. The East Building is the oldest known school building still standing in the city. Both buildings exemplify specific elements of an architectural style or period. Number two, Mount St. Scholastica Academy was the longest operating private school for women in the city and illustrates part of the cultural and social heritage of the city. There's evidence that Mother Frances Xavier Cabrini, who later became canonized as a saint in the Catholic Church, visited the campus of the academy at least once, possibly twice. This is also associated with a lot of local families who sent their daughters to the school as well. Such names that have come up are Adamic, Javernick, Madone, Merlino, Dorito, Diorio, and several more. Havens is another one. The property was owned by the Catholic Benedictine Sisters of Chicago, who played a significant role in the city and the development of educational opportunities for women, both in the city and throughout the United States and even the world. So under these findings of facts, this site meets the criteria for designation as listed in the city's ordinance. The site is at least 50 years old. The site represents a built environment of a group of people in an era of history. The site exemplifies cultural and political, economic, and social heritage in the community. And the site also represents an association with a notable person. And the site is identified with historical personages or groups. So the staff recommends the Historic Preservation Commission vote to support the resolution recommending the City Council to approve Mount St. Scholastica located at 615 Pike Avenue, 722 North 6th Street, 724 North 6th Street, 701 North 7th, and 707 North 7th in Canyon City as a local historic site based on the following criteria. That concludes the staff report. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you might have at this time. And Lester and Phil are here representing the owners of the property as well.
Do we have any questions?
Great summary, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I do have a question about the plans for the development of rehabilitation plans for the historic buildings on the site.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phil, and I'm involved with Homes of the Canyon. Lisa, I want to thank you for a great report, and I also want to commend Lisa as an excellent person when we submitted the application and just going back and forth with emails and phone calls, very professional, and I appreciate that. Thank you. So the plans for St. Scholastica development is that the dormitory or the residence hall would be condominiums in the future, and we're expecting 43 of those. There's going to be 29 one-bedrooms. There'll be 14 two-bedrooms that would be there, and the plans are already developed on that. What is specifically happening is we're getting a report back from the mechanical engineers because everything in it will be done as far as the water supply, the drainage, the electrical, everything is going to be new. So we're getting those back, and then we will be putting that out for bids. And we are planning on going for historic tax credits from both state and federal. So that we've already hired a consultant to do that, and as soon as we have accurate numbers for the development, we'll be going forward with that with the residence hall. The East Building, as was referred to, has a purchase agreement on it, and that purchase agreement will be announced in the next probably 2 weeks with the closing coming right up. It is from a developer that you would know by name here in Canyon City that is going to be attached to something specifically on Main Street. There's as much hints as I can give you that's along 7th, so you might have put 2 and 2 together there, but I'm not announcing it, but you'll figure it out really quickly. So that would be connected with another development that's at the corner of 7th and Main. And then the other 2 buildings, when we went through the city council and the planning commission, those specifically are designated for commercial type of arrangements, and our plans are, from an economic development standpoint, to actually have companies that would come in there that create a multiplier effect, and so we're looking at tech companies. It's been 2 companies have went through so far through both of those buildings, looking at coming down from Denver, and the great thing that we have there is redundancy as far as fiber optics, and so we've got 1 gig lines that can come and be redundant in that, so that's happening. And then on the north end, which is not part of the submission here, there are 13 single-family lots, and we have developers looking at that for putting single-family homes in there. So it's taken a little longer with COVID, and once I've started reaching out to some of the funders for this project, they became highly interested in the historical tax credits, and we can't apply for those except for coming through you folks, and so we certainly appreciate your looking at this, and I think the history is pretty valid that this should be something that takes place, and the state wants to preserve it, and the federal tax credits as well, to make sure that it keeps what it has at this point. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm happy to answer anything else that you might have.
Have you been able to recover the hinges that were stolen from the building?
The hinges?
Yeah, from the doors?
I'm not aware of that. That must have been prior owner that that took place on. So there was a lot of other damage that took place. And I might add that we have been active with this. All the asbestos has been remediated from the property. We had a fair amount of asbestos that was in the residence hall. That's gone. All the other buildings that were torn down, of course, we had the state come in and make sure that that was taking place. There remains some, a little bit in the east building, but that's known, and we've got the reports, and we'll do that. But most of the damage that occurred, we've had it for a year and a half now. We had a month or 2 that some of that was occurring, but lately we haven't had a problem, and that's been a good thing. So,
Thank you.
Lester is here also as our architect. He was with the project longer than I have been because he was with the former owner, but he's able to answer anything on the architectural style as well. So, thank you for what you're doing today. We appreciate it.
Mike, if I could, I just wanted to share a quick note. I'd done a video story on St. Scholastica here at the end of the year. My grandmother graduated from there in 1909. But the story that I did was sent to the Order of St. Benedict in Chicago, and Sister Karen Bland is her name. She did email me, and she thanked me for the video and the history, but she said she spent 19 years there as the principal and president, and during those years is when the classroom, theater building, the natatorium, the library chapel, and the gym were all put in, and then they took down the old 1900 building that was the West building while she was the school principal and president. But she just wanted to convey that she's happy to see that something's happening there, and her words are that she's a little disappointed it's taken so long, so I think she's anxious to see some preservation take place there. So I just wanted to share that the sisters, even though they have had to leave the community, are still following your progress and are interested in seeing something preserved.
Yeah, could I add to that, Chris?
Sure.
Thank you for that video. It was wonderfully done, and we appreciate it very much. So I passed it around as well. But we've got a website, Facebook page, we've got 600 some people that follow it, but a lot of the alumni are on there, and so I have people following from Pakistan, Central America, and they only graduated, they would be in their early 40s, some of the ones that graduated so they've got a pretty good alumni association that certainly follows that. Thanks for reminding me of that.
You bet.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see something happening with this property. And I thought I would mention the Chapel Library. It was built in '83. My dad and one of my uncles did the brickwork on that building. back, and I was 2 years old. But I think I have some pictures from a newspaper article or something I'll have to share with you. Are there any more questions? Do we have any comments from the public? If there are no comments from the public, this closes the public hearing for Mount St. Scholastica Academy as a site designation. I will now entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the application for the Homes of the Canyon 2 LLC for the properties listed in, and I guess we'll go over all of that once again, but Part A and Part B, the residence hall and the additional structures. as part of
This would be for the site.
For the
Yeah,
site.
it's,
Correct.
yeah, it's the site designation, so it's the whole area that, let's see if we can bring it up. It's in the staff report, so it's planning areas 2 and 3, which include the addresses of 615, and this is part of the St. Scholastica minor subdivision. So it's 615 Pike Avenue, 722, let me see if I can go back, 722 North 6th Street, 724 North 6th Street, 701 North 7th Street, and 707 North 7th Street. There.
So that's, so obviously the buildings are on those particular,
Yes, so,
so
yeah,
how
you
do
can
we
see
break
where
those out?
the,
Or just specifically talk about the residence hall?
We're doing a separate public hearing directly after this for
Yes.
the
Okay,
residents.
Okay, so that's
Yeah,
separate.
there was two
Okay, then I make
applications.
a motion, or amend the motion I already made for the site designation for the Mount St. Scholastic Academy site.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion is passed. So the next item on the agenda is the public hearing. I now announce the opening of the public hearing regarding the application to nominate Mount St. Scholastica Academy Residence Hall located at 615 Pike Avenue, more specifically, Planning Area 3 of the Scholastic Minor Subdivision, Canyon City, as a historic structure. I will now turn it over to staff for a report.
So this is the public hearing and consideration for a motion to adopt a resolution to initiate the process for designation of the structure at 615 Pike Avenue as a local historic structure pursuant to city's municipal code, section 123090. The property, there. The property is known as the Residence Hall of Mount St. Scholastica Academy. It's located at 615 Pike Avenue in the Scholastica Minor Subdivision and encompasses the Planning Area 3. The current owners are the Homes of the Canyon 2 LLC and Homes of the Canyon LLC. This is for a local historic structure designation. The owners have been duly noticed, being mailed notice at least 15 days prior to the public hearing, and signs were posted on the property at least 15 days prior to this hearing. The years of construction for the residence hall is 1961. The original owners were Mount St. Scholastica Academy, or the Benedictine Sisters of Chicago. The architect is Langhart and McGuire of Denver, and Ross E. Cox Company was the general contractor. The structure has not moved from its original location. The residence hall, as described in the application, is a 3-story brick structure, block structure with a brick and painted concrete exterior facade. Apologize for being redundant. The style is late modern expressionism, or an international style of American architecture, which was influenced by German Bauhaus movement, with a flat roof, large sections of blank windowless walls, structural framework, and floor-to-ceiling ornamented windows that are flush to the exterior walls. The structure has a rectangular design with a 150-degree break forming 2 large wings. Mount St. Scholastica Academy officially opened in September 1890 with only 40 students. Over the next 60 years, the campus of Mount St. Scholastica grew from just 1 building to over 6 structures. After this construction of the East Building, the Fine Arts Building in 1897, with the help of prison labor, a chapel, and eventually a residential hall, the West Building were built. The Chaplains College, built around 1903 on the northwest corner of Pike Avenue, was demolished in 1960 to make room for this new residence dormitory. The residence hall was the first of many structures on the campus of the St. Scholastica Academy by the Benedictine Sisters of Chicago during the second half of the 20th century. The structure was built to accommodate the growing enrollment at the school in 1961. According to the Canyon City Daily Record, 100 Years of Progress Special Edition in 1962, the dormitory cost $750,000 to build and was the first phase of a long-range building program planned by the Sisters of the Order of St. Benedict, who operate the academy. The residence hall included a lobby, reception office, television room, a large recreation room, and rooms set up for hobbies, crafts, sewing, and even a photographic darkroom. The large dining hall and cafeteria occupied much of the main floor in the East Wing. The residence hall housed up to 104 student boarders with rooms on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the dormitory. The residence hall served as a communal living area for all boarding students that attended St. Scholastica Academy from 1962 to 2001. In addition to after-school studying, school dances, banquets, pageants, many more other social activities were held in this structure during its roughly 40-year history. The significance of Mount St. Scholastica. Mount St. Scholastica Academy was the longest operating private school in Canyon City, contributing to the education of thousands of girls and young women from 1890 to 2001. Mount St. Scholastica Academy served as a private boarding school for girls in all grades, and in the 1930s, the academy became a private girls' high school or college preparatory school. Girls from all over Colorado, the United States, and even the world attended this boarding school. By the 1980s, according to a newspaper article printed in the Chieftain, the St. Scholastica Academy was not only the oldest boarding school in Colorado, it was also the only girls' boarding school in the state. On a local level, the school also impacted the social and economic history of Canyon City. At the height of its enrollment in the 1990s, the school contributed over $1 million annually to the local economy. Both St. Scholastica's students and faculty actively volunteered at local daycare centers, schools, and nursing homes. St. Scholastica Academy and the residence hall in particular are indelibly linked to the small but noteworthy community of St. Scholastica, of the Catholic Benedictine Sisters of Chicago, who established the school and the educational history of Canyon City. The Benedictine Sisters created a community within a community for the benefit of educating girls and young women that lasted over a century. The residence hall quite literally became a home away from home for hundreds of young women who attended St. Scholastica from the spring of 1962 to when St. Scholastica closed in 2001. According to an article printed in the Daily Record, February 28, 1986, since the founding of the Girls' Academy in 1890, the educational aims of the institution have been the same: to send out well-educated graduates who will become an active part of their communities. The same article also noted that 90 to 100% of the students at St. Scholastica go on to college. The high percentage of graduates going on to college continued until the school's closure in 2001. So the finding of facts for this designation: the residence hall was built in 1961 to house students of Mount St. Scholastica Academy, which was the longest operating women's school in the city. The property was owned by the Catholic Benedictine Sisters of Chicago, who played a significant role in the city and the development of educational opportunities for young women in both the city and throughout the United States. So the staff recommends the Historic Preservation Commission vote to support the resolution recommending City Council to approve the residence hall of the St. Scholastica Academy located at 615 Pike Avenue in Canyon City as a local historic structure based on the following criteria. The structure is at least 50 years old. The structure represents a built environment of a group of people in an era of history. The structure exemplifies cultural, political, economic, or social heritage in the community, and the structure is identified with historical personage or groups. Thus, that concludes the staff report. I am happy to answer any questions at this time. And again, we still have the owners of the property.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yep.
I appreciate you're willing to put up with the redundancy of this. The reason for having two different submissions is the building that is more than 50 years old is what we're going specifically after for the tax credits. And so we wanted, based on Ryan, the city administrator's input, we thought we should submit it as two different submissions, and that's what we're up to. So appreciate that.
Any questions? Any comments from the public at this time? If there are no comments from the public, this closes the public hearing for St. Scholastica Academy Residence Hall, and I will now entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the designation of Mount St. Scholastica Academy Residence Hall as an historic, how would we word that, Lisa, as
As a historic,
designating the structure as an historic structure. And I guess that's my motion, that we approve the submission as we read it.
Do we have a second?
At 615 Pike, yeah.
Yes.
There is a, on the staff report, I did put a recommended motion language, so if you wanted to read that, that's.
Okay. Do you read it, or do
No,
I? So now, therefore, is that what we want to read, the entire resolution?
It's actually recommended motion on the staff report.
Okay, I don't have that in front of me, I think.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I'll let you read it.
It says, move that the Historic Preservation Commission adopt the staff report dated January 27th, 2021 as findings of fact to the commission and to initiate historic designation in the form of the resolution attached to the staff report for the structure located at 615 Pike Avenue, finding that it meets the criteria for initiation of designation per section 123090 criteria for designation in the city ordinance.
That was my motion.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Lisa, I'm sorry, I did have a question about the numbering of these
Resolution, so
yeah.
Resolution 2 was the one for the site designation, and Resolution 3 is for the residence hall.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure we were just going in that order then.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yep.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess we're moving on to announcements and discussion items. And I'll turn this back over, or do I need to sign the resolutions right now?
As soon as you can.
Yeah?
And then I'll pick them up.
Okay.
As for announcements, the CLG program coordinator, Erica, has reached out to new CLG programs and wanted to do an orientation with the commission. There is one other CLG that's fairly new. We can do it during a meeting, or we can do it during a special meeting if you like, via Zoom. She just wants to touch base with the commission and do a orientation for all involved. We could do it together as part of Fort Morgan's. I think they're wanting to do it during March 11th, is their next meeting. We could do it during our next meeting. We can give her several dates if you wanted. It doesn't have to be during a meeting, but might want to recommend doing that.
I think it'd be beneficial to do it the same time
Same
as
place,
Fort
yep.
Morgan and get
Oh, okay.
more people talking about it. I know we've had people from History Colorado come to the Fremont County Heritage Commission
Yes.
and
Yep.
do run-throughs, and it can be kind of overwhelming. And I think to get other people asking questions, even from outside our group, would be beneficial.
Okay. I don't know what time during March 11th. I will reach out to Erica and see what time that Fort Morgan is. I'm betting it's going to be in the afternoon. I think that's, if I remember correctly, when they meet. And I'll see if I can arrange that with Erica to do it at the same time. It'll probably be via Zoom. We'll see if we can do it and schedule it in this room.
I mean,
If
if
not,
that
then-
works for everybody else.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
And the only other thing I have is the Savings Places Conference. We did receive confirmation that we did get the awarded reimbursement for that for the 6 people who had signed up to attend the conference. Myself, Tom, Rick, as well as Rochelle, Terry, and Jim. We'll give reports. It's for what, probably at our next meeting. The Saving Places Conference is February 10th through the 12th. So.
I'm signed up for it as well.
Oh, really? Okay,
a
individually?
member, supporter of CPI also.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. That's all I had.
Looks like there's a couple of programs that'll be pretty salient for CLG purposes,
Yeah.
tax credits and how they apply. So it looks like it'll be very beneficial.
And there's going to be more webinars that they offer too, and I'll let you know of any upcoming ones through the CLG portal as well.
In terms of actual issuance of the tax credits, it seems that we, as the local CLG, would review any that come forward for residential.
That goes to the state.
Well, I know that the commercial
Oh, commercial.
goes to the state.
Okay.
I thought residential went to us.
I'll have to look at that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I'll confirm. So far, we haven't received any, so.
Okay, if there are no further announcements or public comment, this meeting is now adjourned.